Okay, you guys, I'm so excited today because I get to talk with my dear friend, Nicole, and she is a local real estate agent to Edmond, Oklahoma. She's been in the real estate industry for over 8 years. She is a multi-million dollar producer with her biggest year recently doing over 12 million in sales. And she is consistently a top producer with Weston, Maine, the brokerage that she's with right now. She's a mom to two beautiful girls. She's my neighbor, which I love, and just such a dear friend. And if you know Autumn, you just love her because she's so genuine and just loves to help everyone. So as far as a neighbor, if you need anything, she's got it in her pantry. She's always checking on you. I just love her. I just love her. So I'm excited for you guys to get to hear what she has to say. So Autumn, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. So you've been in real estate for over 8 years. What would you say is the most recurring hurdle that you face, and how are you overcoming that? Because we know real estate, has its ebbs and flows. It's always kind of, going like that. So tell me what your biggest challenge has been as of recent.
Yeah. Okay. So recently, if you stay aware of the market, like rates are a huge thing right now. So every 3 to 4 years, rates, they go up and down. And so through COVID, rates were down. Obviously now they're up. So the most reoccurring thing that I'm having right now is overcoming that challenge of, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy because the rate is so high. And that's a constant battle with sellers and buyers. Sellers don't want to move because they're locked into a good rate right now. So the house has to really make them be something shiny that they want to have a higher rate to. And then buyers are like, oh, it's all about that monthly payment. So I think that's like the biggest reoccurring hurdle in the conversation that I have daily. Overcoming that, you just got to get creative. Like COVID happened, we had to get creative into multiple offers, appraisal gaps, just things that were outside of the norm. This market, you got to get creative. Seller concessions, right? To ask for seller concessions and to help buy their rate down, because everybody's pretty much concerned about their monthly payment is what I would say would be the most conversation is, oh my gosh, the rate is 8%, which means my monthly payment is XYZ. So it's like, how do we get the monthly payment where they're down and it's comfortable? Oh, okay, we can ask for a seller concession, $5,000 to $10,000. New construction can be higher, and we can get that rate down, buy the rate down, which gives them a more comfortable monthly payment of where they're okay. So, and just another thing, okay, looking at the rates where they are. Right now in Oklahoma, I just went to a real estate conference in Oklahoma City, and one of the lenders was telling us, like, we're having the biggest migration movement into Oklahoma as we speak. California, Oregon, and Washington. Okay, they're moving in for number one, our politics. Number two, we're still the most affordable state to move to. So looking at that, our home prices are staying the same. They're not going down. And so it's like, okay, the rate is where it's at, and we're going to be as competitive, and we're going to try to get creative and get you what the best deal that we can get. Guarantee you, lenders are doing this. Everybody's trying to get the best deal. But you think about all the people moving, well, that's going to increase home prices. Okay. And then we're going to have possibly, there could be a shortage of houses again, which means in the next year, okay, you can buy 8% now, or we can get you down. And then in the next year, you're going to have to buy higher because we are not going to have seller concessions. We can't get you that. We're going to be in multiple offer situations. So it's like, it's kind of like it's either now or pay higher next year. I mean, is honestly the conversation that I'm having a lot right now.
Right. Well, and there's no perfect time to buy.
Correct.
Right? It's give and take. So I like what you said though about the seller concessions, that right now as a buyer, you're going to get more from the seller. They're going to be more willing to negotiate, and look back to COVID, and that was not the case, right? So you were just hoping that your offer was the best offer because it was typically competing with several other offers, right?
Right. And like your TRR, okay, COVID, we were 20, 30, 50,000 over market value with no repairs. That's an as is home. Right now we have more of a negotiation power.
Yeah.
Okay, the home's on the market, 20 days? Okay, let's figure this out. Sellers know rates are high. Sellers know what it is. So we can try to get you concessions. We can try to get you more repairs done where both sides of the parties are happy. And I can't guarantee you that next year.
Right. Well, and Oklahoma is one of the most affordable states. And like you said, that's why people are coming here. So get ready, right? Because they're coming in droves. So
They are.
that's good. Okay. So as far as if you're going to look back, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? Which is a tough question, I know.
It is a tough question. Man. Okay. So being in the real estate industry for 8 years, literally, I wish I would have started sooner. If I could have told my 21 or 20-year-old self, it would be start investing. Okay. So if I would have known the concept and what real estate does and investment properties, definitely would have been, hey, start your real estate career now. And because I just think about what I've been able to do in 8 years and how much, like, for a legacy for my girls and stuff like that. Like, if I would have started 20 years ago, man, I just think like where I would be and what I could do and investment properties and stuff like that. So I probably would have just said like, hey, start now. Like, pay attention to the market, what the market is doing and real estate and investments and stuff. So that's what I would say.
I love that. That's good. Right. And like, hey, it's all going to work out. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
Because, well, and real estate's stressful. It's a stressful career because you're dealing with people that this is the most money that they ever spend. Right. So you see all the emotion. But I do love what you said about investing because, real estate typically appreciates. 9 times out of 10, it's going to appreciate. So,
correct. Well, and my dad has always said, like, okay, when I was 20, I didn't get the concept of land, right? Land's everywhere. Oklahoma, we have land. Like, there's land, there's cattle, there's land, there's trees, like, not a big deal. Until he would always say, like, hey, they're not building any more land. And now in real estate, now I get it. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's no more land. Like, land's just not going to appear, So now I get the concept of it. And I'm like, he's correct. Like, you can't just produce more land.
Right.
Like, we have what we have. And so as I've gotten older, it's like, I wish I would have taken that like into perspective.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you on that. So another thing I want to ask you, and I feel like you're so good at this, is, well, first of all, you're always so positive. You're always so encouraging. And I think everyone would say that about you that knows you. So tell me about what you listen to. Are you podcasts or what books are you reading? What do you do to keep yourself positive and on the top of your game? Because like you always are, and I feel like you're never off. And I love that about you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I definitely have my moments, but our mindset is a powerful thing. Okay. And I've always understood that. And what you put in will always come out. So I always have to think, and something that I'm sharing with my girls right now, right? Kenzie's 14, Tegan's 9, what they hear at school and what comes out of them. It's like, what are you feeding yourself? And so I'm very protective of that. I listen to a lot of like Christian and country music, right? Those are like with a little bit of pop and rock or whatever. But even like for podcasts and everything, because I know what I'm putting in is eventually going to come out of my mouth. And I want to set that example for my girls too. So I've also been a huge John C. Maxwell fan. And he's always said like leaders are readers. And so if I want to be a leader in the industry, a leader in my market, then I've got to constantly be reading and updating myself on market updates and the mindset and relationships. Like, I love relationships and I want to help and serve the best that I can. And so I will always do a personal growth book. And John C. Maxwell is one of my favorite go-to for anything of leadership and success in business because he comes from a servant heart. And that's where I can relate and what I want to strive for. And then real estate market things like Tom Ferry, like he's a great podcast to listen to for a real estate and the ideas, because you want to look at nationwide, what's working in other markets too, and what you could be implementing. And so that's really good. But That's kind of what I do. And I listen to a lot of pastors that deal with life and how to apply it, and just protecting my mindset, honestly. And that's kind of what I do.
Who's your favorite pastor to listen to?
Oh, okay. It's so hard because I have like five.
I know.
Okay. I can't just pick one. But every week, I'll tell you, I listen to Gateway Church out of Texas, Robert Morris. He always has something really good. So it's like I go to Life Church on Sundays, but then every day of the week, every morning when I'm in the shower getting ready, I'm listening to a different podcast, a different pastor, just learning more. So Gateway Church, Elevation Church with Stephen Furtick, I always listen to. I know, I do too. Every once in a while, I throw in a Transformation Church with Michael Todd, and he's in Tulsa. Like, I've gone to that church. Andy Stanley's really good on a 30-minute like life principle. And so I like him too every once in a while to throw that in. And then I'll do, I don't know if you're familiar with Jimmy Evans, but he does Marriage Today, and he's all relationship driven, whether it's like marriage or not, like, because it's anything that I can be a better mom, to my girls, a better neighbor, a better friend, a better sister, a better mother, like daughter, auntie, whatever it looks like. It's like, God, shape me and mold me into who I can become for these people and who you want me to. So those are kind of the pastors that I fluctuate and listen to.
Okay. And you were telling me right before we got on that you were having your mentees, some of the guys and gals that you train in your office, that you were having them read what book?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Kyle Draper's book, his social media book that just came out, like, it was an easy read, and there's so many tips. Like, Kyle is so good. I get something from his newsletter all the time. Like, I've told them, like, you guys better subscribe to his newsletter. I'm constantly learning. Like, he adds so much value. So staying like top of mind, like, is all from Kyle. And so he may not know it, but every week I look at that newsletter and I'm getting his content and I'm getting his ideas. And then his book was so like easy to read and to apply. So working on those things. And that's just like, you've got to learn with the curve, right? You can't do things like we used to do. And he's really good at understanding the market and knowing what to do.
Yes. No, he's amazing. I have thoroughly enjoyed him as well. And I love Stephen Furtick, and I love Craig Rochelle at Life Church. So
Yes.
yeah, and you can just tell, again, just by talking to you and interacting with you, you're always pouring good stuff into you. So thank you for sharing that part of what you're listening to. So I want to ask you, as far as a horror story. So in all of your real estate transactions, what has been the craziest, worst horror story experience with another realtor during a transaction?
Oh man, another realtor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because we've all had them. We've all had them.
I know. It's so hard. Like, I can name you the client one immediately. Like, I know that horror story. Another realtor, like, it's hard because like clients don't see behind the scenes. And like, I'm really big on having that relationship with other agents, like networking with other agents, because a lot of it is agent to agent negotiation and talking and how can we come together and make this work.
Right.
So a horror story with another agent, that's hard because I really don't have like, I mean, I've had some that have been pushy and not wanting to work together, and just really adamant on stuff like that. Very prideful, very greedy, throw me under the bus, like very stuff like that. But
well, just being unethical and unprofessional.
Yeah.
What you're saying is actually such a good point. It really is the agents working together to get the transaction done, right?
Right.
You have an agent that just doesn't have that professionalism, it really can affect the transaction in a negative way. And sometimes, and I mean, it's happened to me a ton of times, and maybe even to you, where it'll affect the deal, right? So I think that's such a good point. And I ask you that just because I think that's why it is so important to get clients connected to the right realtor that's going to best fit their needs, right? So just being professional. Do they work well with others? Because really, in our industry, you've got to be able to work well, because we know that so many obstacles come up from the start to the finish of a deal. And you got to have someone that's willing to work with you, be solution oriented to get the deal done. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to get to the closing table and get it done and have a good experience.
Right. Well, and here's what I've learned too. A lot of agents that I deal with are so transactional, and I can't handle it, right? Like, all they want to do is get the deal done and move on to their next person. And I'm relational. So, and I get like there's business. Like I am all business, and I love negotiating. I love fighting for my people. I will fight for my seller to get the most, and I will fight for my buyer to get the best deal. Like, I have 2 older brothers. My dad's a football coach. I got that. Like, I am not scared. I don't shy away from negotiations because I'm fighting for somebody else to get the best deal. But it's a relationship. Like, I can go, and probably about 87% of my past clients, I could go up to their door today and they would invite me in their home, and it wouldn't be awkward. We could sit at a table because we stay and communicate, because it's a relationship to me.
Right.
From 8 years ago to my closing tomorrow, right? Like, I will continue a relationship with them and their family, and watching their kids grow and be a part of their life. Like, that's how it is. And so many people, it's a transaction, and you can tell it's a transaction by the way they communicate, and just they're ready to get the deal done, and they could care less, and they don't have their client's best interest at heart. Like, I see a lot of that, and it's disheartening in our, in our industry.
Absolutely. No, that's such a good point. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm going to ask one last question, and that's going to be, just tell me, because other people are going to be seeing this, what would you feel like your niche is in real estate? Because we all have niches. Nobody really wants to say that realtors do, but we really do. So tell me what yours is.
Okay. So, I would probably say I used to be like second, third homes, right? Families that are on their second, third home, they're growing families. I would probably say that. But in the last 5 years, and I do primarily Edmond and surrounding areas is kind of where, most of everything is. But going through a divorce myself like 5 years ago, and a single mom, I get it. And I have helped several families, and I hate how the divorce rates are still on the rise, right? And I walk into houses sometimes and I see the empty closet, and my heart hurts for that, because I've walked that journey. And so helping families honestly navigate that process and what that looks like, because working with the lender, working with the accountant of when to sell, the value of the home, making sure the kids are okay, right? It's a transition for all parties. And so I think that would be one of my biggest ones so far. And the last few years, it's been on the rise, and I have it happen so much. And it's not even, I also have a lot of empty nesters that have come to me who the kids are grown, but whenever I sit down with them, and they're very cordial, and it's like when we sit down and talk, it's like, hey, we realize once the kids left, we look across the room and we don't know each other. Mm-hmm. Can you sell this home, and can you help us both find a home? Right. And so, and that's happened a lot. And I look at it, and these are marriages of 25 plus years. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I would say that's probably been my biggest clientele here lately.
Well, and I hear what you're saying, because you're really pointing out the fact that it's emotional. Real estate's emotional. It's an emotional purchase, because whether you're buying or selling, a lot of times, because emotional things are happening, right? Whether someone's getting a divorce or somebody has passed away, So, even if you wouldn't have told me that, I would have said pretty much what you just said about you, just knowing you and how you relate to your clients and how you talk about them. They really are like a family to you. And so I love that about you. I really do. And it just, again, to know, if you knew you would know that. So
you're
thank
sweet.
you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to me. I am going to include all of your social media tags so that people can go on and follow you. So thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather. I adore you and appreciate you inviting me and the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good day.
Okay. Thank you. You too.